Hi everyone, and welcome back to We Inspire. So this is episode 3 of series 2 of the We Inspire podcast. I'm absolutely buzzing for this week. So you'll probably hear her laughing in a second. I don't know how we're going to get through this without messing about because we've known each other a long time. This episode, though, I'm joined by someone I've known for, shall we just say a decade and just stay there?
I think it's probably longer than that.
Yeah, let's just say a decade.
Let's say a decade plus a decade. Yeah.
Obviously, the relationship we've built is phenomenal, but her background is ridiculous. Currently, the director of digital marketing for Dermalogica UK, but experience in working within the beauty space is the predominant space, would we say, Gemma? He's there. Part of the LVMH group where she was overseeing Dior, Space NK, Molson Brown. Prior to that was a House of Fraser, which we've been talking about when there was no website. So Gemma Stevenson. So Gemma, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to chat to you. We have known each other forever, so it's good to chat.
This one is more personal though, this podcast. And I think it's probably the obviously we're always, the reason we've got this podcast is the network I've got within this space is phenomenal, but the women that are within this industry are just incredible. So there's always some kind of story that we've got and we try to get across and about inspiring. I think this one's got a bit of a left turn on it. And I think it'll probably be the most poignant kind of statement we're going to make through this series, and I'm so glad that you've agreed to talk me through this, and it's around the stigma of being a career mum.
Exactly that.
Which I'm absolutely buzzing for. But before we go into absolutely all of the stuff that we go into, I wanted to have a little bit more fun with it. And I wanted to catch you off guard a little bit.
Okay. And can we just say that I've not prepped because I am a career mum and my little girl kicked off this morning. So this is going to be fun.
Honestly, I can't. I think that's the whole point of it, though, isn't it? You always have plans, and I mine's from a different side. I was planned on being ready for work on time this morning. That didn't happen. Yeah. Right. So we're going to start off with some quick fire questions. What do you impulse buy most often at shops?
Ooh, good question. Polos or shoes? As in mint polos. I always have to have a packet of mint polos.
Polos or shoes?
Yeah, or shoes.
Fair enough.
You never have too many mints or too many pairs of shoes.
I can tell you the same thing.
I told you we were going to go off on this one.
Shoes are ridiculous. I get told off all. It's always the one pair I buy. I only get one pair. That's my favourite.
Always impulse buying shoes.
I love them. Breakfast or dinner? Favourite?
Dinner.
If you could teleport yourself anywhere right now, where would you go?
Ooh. Okay, with this really cold weather, absolutely to a beach with a cocktail in my hands with the sunshine.
What was the first concert you ever attended? Buzzing for this one.
I think it may have been Jason Donovan.
Oh, wow.
Or E17. Maybe Jason.
Every part of me wanted to see Stay Another Day then. Every part of me.
Yeah.
Them jackets were horrific, by the way, in that film. This one, most used emoji.
I don't know what I'd call it, but this one, where it's like...
They can't see you, Gemma.
I know, but how do I describe that? It's the emoji with the lady with her two hands up, with her hands to the side going, whatever, or, so what, or c'est la vie, or hey, that's life, or...
I love how you put your hands there, like they can see.
I know, they can see me. That is my most used emoji.
That could have gone completely wrong, though.
Yeah, it could, absolutely. It's quite hard to describe.
Yeah, but it could have been a really worse emoji, to be honest.
Yeah, there could have been some other things,
Shockers. Right, so look, we'll jump in. You know, and I know, obviously, your background, your story, but obviously for the listeners and stuff, give us a bit of an overview of your career today.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I went to uni in Nottingham and I stayed locally for a year and worked as a marketing exec. I decided, right, I want to do marketing. I did business, economics and law and marketing, and I wanted to do marketing. Worked for a local IT firm for a year, and then I got the draw of London, and I went to House of Fraser for 6 years and worked my way up at House of Fraser. And as we discussed before, I was at House of Fraser when there wasn't even a website. So that says something about my age. I worked within CRM, and I think that's when I first got my love for data, and I'm just like marketing with data, so kind of combining art and science together. So I think that kind of led me into the digital world to a certain degree. I then went over to Space NK, incredible brand, and I launched their loyalty program. I actually worked really closely with Nikki Kinnaird, their founder, to launch Indulge, which is still exists today, and I do take pride when I see them presenting. Then I went to Parfum Christian Dior for 6 years and headed up CRM and digital, which was really kind of my big stepping stone into digital, and also into beauty, into fragrance, into skincare, and being brand side. And that's kind of where I've obviously stayed because I have such a passion for that. So I did 6 years there, which is phenomenal. Fabulous brand. It was kind of hard to know where to go from Dior. It's like, where do you go from Dior? Yeah. Because they are there. So for me, I really then wanted to get global exposure. And I went to Molton Brown and became their global digital director. And I did a couple of years there, and I had the most incredible team, great experience, and it really kind of elevated my digital experience, because Dior, quite rightly so, were very much about the brands and brand awareness before digital, and Molton Brown was a lot more digital led, and I was given complete freedom. Then I had a little break. I went on maternity leave, and then I joined Dermalogica, which is where I am now as digital marketing and e-com director. And I've been here for 3.5 years. So there you go. That's a bit of a whistle-stop tour.
Amazing. Well, look, as I said, this episode is, if this all resonates with so many people.
Yeah.
So before we kind of go into the careers and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
This episode obviously has got a real meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the removing the stigma that you cannot be a mum as well as that career driven. And this is something that you live by. This was your idea. This has nothing to do with us. So obviously being a single mum to Florence, who obviously you and I follow each other on Instagram as well.
Yeah,
so she's
exactly. She is.
She's lovely. One of the biggest names in beauty, as well as being a single parent.
Yeah.
Talk me through that. You could take the lead on this one.
Yeah, I guess it's a juggle. I would say to start with. So not only am I a working parent, I'm a single working parent. So it's just myself and Florence Ava, and it is a juggle. But I think, it takes serious organisation. I think that is key for me. A massive sense of humour plays a big part in terms of kind of dealing with this. And then for me, I run, as you know, I have to have an outlet, and I have to have the odd glass of wine as well. So I think they're my coping mechanisms for juggling all of this. I would say, look, COVID hit, so that added an entire different level of complexity to being a single mother and working. And I work in digital, and digital absolutely exploded during COVID because everywhere closed. So all of our retail locations, all of our standalone stores, and everything was on digital. So, it was juggling Zoom calls. And I think at that point, Florence Ava was 18 months. So she was still napping. I was changing nappies on Zoom calls and, all of that side. And I think at that time, I was very much working like I wasn't a mother and mothering like I wasn't working. But that was on me. That was so on me. I was the one putting that on myself. But actually with COVID, you can't hide, and I'm very much, as you know, I'm a people person. Put your camera on, put your camera on. I'm always like, so I think people got an insight into my life a little bit more. And I think that's when I'm like, I'm owning this now. And I do own it. I do own the fact that I work and I have quite a big job, but I'm a mum at the same time. And it's given me perspective, I think, in terms of actually a balance in terms of, well, I can't do it all, and actually, oh yeah, no, I can do it all and be this. I have different moments. I think it's given me that openness to just be honest with my team, be like, no, I've got to go, and you know, I'm really strict with my time. My organisation skills are another level than they've ever been before. You know, I leave here at 5. I'm gone. I'm doing that school pickup. I'm putting her to bed. But at the same time, I work so much smarter in my day. So it's just changed my way of working. And I think my openness to sharing that with people around me. So whether it's a meeting, whatever it might be, I'll just be, oh no, I can't do it. Or actually, I can do this time. And I actually tell people why. Whereas before, I never told people why. And I don't know why.
So yeah, that kind of gives me another question. And so, because you said something there, like you wouldn't tell people why. Why was that? Why was it so kind of hidden, like it's a secret?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it was me putting it on me. I think, you know, was it that I'm thinking, okay, well, I can't progress if I'm a working mother because I can't attend all the late night events, or I can't be on late night calls, or, you know, I haven't got the flexibility that other people can have. And I didn't want to have any doors closed on me because I'm driven. I'm very ambitious. But actually, that was me. I think there is a stigma around, oh, you can't do it, and you put that on yourself a lot. You know, often people say to me, and actually it's other mums, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Or, you know, don't you miss being at the school pickup and those things? So you do have those moments, but actually the people working around me empower me. They encourage me to do it. My boss here encourages me to do it. Of course you can do it. And I think it's made me more driven. And I own this situation now and I use it to my advantage. I'm probably more ambitious. Well, I'm just as ambitious now as I was then. It's not changed things.
And is there kind of, do you know, like that there's common traits where people kind of, is there something, a common thing where people keep saying the same thing about being a mum and having this career? Like you said there, do you not wish you could do that? Or do you not wish you could do that? What kind of are the things that kind of keep coming up?
I wouldn't say, I would say it's often, I don't know how you do it, comes up a lot. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. People say that all the time. And I'm like, well, if you want to do something, you make it happen, right? There is always a solution. There's always a way around it. You know, don't get me wrong. I have days and I'm like, you know, we've all been there. You've got children. Sometimes by 9 a.m. you're done because you've literally got them up. You've got them changed. You've managed to get them to school or nursery and you're beaten for the day and you're like, it's only 9 a.m. But there are other days where I'm so empowered by this. Of course you can do it. You can do anything. You don't, it's opening that doors, but maybe just finding a different way to open them, you know? And I think I'm actually a better leader because of my situation. I actually think I've become a better leader in the last few years because I'm way more organized for one, which is obviously key. I think I've got a lot more compassion for others. But I think the biggest thing for me is self-compassion. And I go way easier on myself than I ever used to. Way easier on myself. I'm much kinder to myself. And I think that makes me a better leader as well. And I don't sweat the small stuff. And I put things into perspective. And I'm like, okay, no, it's been a good day, you know? And like things are always going to go wrong. You're always going to forget things. Or I know it's World Book Day and I've forgotten her costume this week. Do you know what? Stuff happens. Just got to laugh about it.
It sounds like, because obviously you said you've got that empathy now because you understand it and that's made you a leader, the way that you would lead it. So do you think that's made you a better leader? So say someone in your team was never becoming a mum, you'd be able to advise them now because of... Absolutely.
And I think before I think I've always been a relatively compassionate person, and I am so privileged that I have had the most incredible teams here at Molton Brown, at Dior. My teams have been my family, I think. So I've always had relationships with my teams and I seem to know their backgrounds, but I think now is another level of understanding. I think it's more like, no, of course you can do that. No matter what the situation, whether it's because they're a mother or a father or it's because of something else happening, there is a way to do something if you want to do it. And I think that's how my eyes have opened in the last few years.
And has it ever been on the other side of the coin quite difficult? Like kind of anyone ever kind of questioning your commitment or availability because you've got it flow?
I think it's more me questioning myself. and I question my commitment and my availability a lot more. I mean, my head office is in LA, so can you imagine from 4 o'clock to 8 is peak time? That's peak school pickup and bedtime. It's not a great time. So sometimes I question myself, but hey, actually, do you know what? I'm flexible. I have that time. I can jump on at 9 p.m. I'm not saying I'm encouraging this, but this is the way that I work. And I've had this conversation with my manager. He knows how I work. You know, I have that freedom and autonomy to do that. So I think I put a lot of it on myself. I think at times maybe people don't ask me to do things or attend things because of that, or she won't be available. And I'm like, no, just always ask me. You know, if I can be there, I will be there. I have a great support network around me. I don't want to be discounted from opportunities or travel or doing things because of the situation. I think people are a bit hesitant maybe around that side of things.
Just again, something you mentioned there. Have you ever been discounted because you've got the little one? Because it is something that I've heard about, and I just want to understand why.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough that I really haven't. And I think, you know, I have been at Dermalogica, and the brand ethos is about empowering women, you know, so I am empowered and I haven't been discounted. And, you know, I do think, maybe if I was in a global role, it'd be very different. Or if it was maybe some of my previous roles where I worked much longer hours, it'd be very different. I would find it a lot harder. But here, I'm empowered, and we empower women to be the best they can. So I'm very, very fortunate that I can do that. I think for me, it's actually more outside of work than in work to be like the school mums, or, you know, I'm not an active mum at a school.
Yeah.
Because I can't do both. I can dip in and out, but I can't be full time. Hey, I'm volunteering to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not the mum at the school gate in the morning and at the end of the day, because my daughter goes to a breakfast club and an after school club to enable me to work, because I work 5 days a week. I find that a little stigma around that.
I was going to say that because obviously
it's more that side than the professional side.
Yeah, I was going to say that because obviously I think my partner's obviously it's different because she's not a single parent. But do you find that the school mums can treat you differently because you're not as available, like to go and do them things? Do you think that's a stigma that needs to change?
Yeah, I do. I do think it needs to change. I don't say they treat me differently. I guess I'm not as involved. So, and that's I'm putting that on me. I'm not putting this on anyone else. I'm not as involved as other mums. So, of course, I'm not included in everything because I'm not available. So, and that's the choice that I have taken because... And so, yeah, it's on me because I've made that choice to be a full-time working mother. And also I need to be because I'm a single mother. So, you know, and I'm setting a good example. You know, some days I think, you know, yeah, it would be great to be at everything and all the school trips, but I can't do that. And I have to be kind to myself to realise, no, I can't do that. But hey, I enjoy my job and I get to do this and I get to, you know, work for an incredible brand and do a great job and work with great people. So it swings and roundabouts.
So again, I can only see it from my dad's perspective. Like my children have been my drivers. I think they completely changed my mindset.
Yeah.
Do you think you've become more driven since having Florence?
Yes and no. I have always been driven. I have been a very driven person, but she gives me a very strong purpose, and I want to set an example that I remember her saying to me, when I'm older, she was like, what do you want to be when you're older? Obviously, she wants to be Elsa. But, and she's like, a mummy or I work. And I was like, you're 4. You can work and be a mummy, at that age. I'm like, I'm setting an example here. Of course, you can have a job and have a family and have all of that. Doesn't need to be one or the other. So I am driven to set that example and be like, yes, of course you can. And you can do a great job. And there's not a ceiling, please, people think, I can only, and I hear this from people I work around, I couldn't get to that level because, I've got family and I've got children, it'd be too much. Well, no, you could. You actually could. Really go for it. Please don't put that ceiling there for yourself. But at the same time, and I said, hence I said yes and no in terms of dribbling, I think it's given me a lot more perspective and balance as well, because I don't sweat the small stuff. I think I said that before because, hey, I haven't got time for that, and I think that has helped me become a better leader as well.
100%. And final thing on this topic, what do you think? Because obviously we know Dermalogica really do empower women. It's their whole message, just not even from their staffing. It's their route to market, isn't it? Really, that's what they want to do.
Yeah, route to market.
You're in an incredibly fortunate position, but for businesses that are maybe not as advanced or committed to this kind of message, what do you think they could be doing to not only support parents but empower them?
I think, first of all, flexible working does help. Having some, I'm not saying, it has to be full flexible, but having some flexibility and trust. And, some days that people are going to come in at 9:10 because maybe they're doing a school drop off, or actually, no, they come in really early and they leave early or whatever. And I think obviously there's so much around flexible working requests and those things now, especially post-COVID, I think having that flexibility, but also having that empowerment within a company that, I literally walk out my door at 5:00 and people are like, hey, I'm going to go pick up my little girl. I own that. And I empower people like, of course you can do that. So I think it's empowering people. And, things that we've been talking about here is about having, we've got an incredible HR lady, and, about having working mums groups where you can share stuff. It could be just like HR topics that we can discuss, but actually sharing experiences and sharing challenges together. And actually not hiding it and not hiding behind your Zoom call like I used to, but actually just owning it and sharing it a little bit more.
For anyone else that's kind of listening now, because I've had some amazing response just talking about the launch of this episode. As I said to you, I think this will be our most empowering episode because of the message.
Yeah.
For someone that is listening that's maybe about to be a mum, or someone that's really struggling to kind of, what would your advice be to them?
I think don't put walls up around you that because you're a parent, or even, a single parent as well, that you can't do things. You can do them. Ask for help. Take the help that's offered. Ask for support when you need it. So whether that is in your home life to juggle, looking after a child and going to work, you need support around you. You're stuck at Waterloo, the train's delayed. What do you do? It's those small things that you tend to need to have a network. It takes a village and all of that. But I think have those open conversations at work as well about what your situation is, how you can work here, how you can work smarter because you are a parent. And I think it's removing that stigma that you put on yourself as well as the stigma that's out there. I think that is key, to be like, oh, no, I don't want to go into that job because, how would I don't know, how would I be that level and be a parent? Or I don't want to go into that job because that's a massive team. How would I give time to my team and do all of this? Well, of course you can. Of course you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. You find a way, as long as you're in, an organisation that's going to support you to do that. And I think it's just removing those barriers from yourself.
Amazing. I honestly hope this one lands as well as I hope so. So I really do. But look, taking all of that aside, and it's so important, your career has been phenomenal, and I've been incredibly privileged to kind of just see it from the outside in. Beauty has been a part of your life for some time now. What would you say has been your highlight in your career to date?
I would say the teams that I've worked with. I have worked with some incredible teams. So the teams, I'm very privileged to lead some incredible teams and be part of these teams. I think just being in the beauty industry, it's, as you know, it's such a small industry. People move around. It's actually a little bit of a community. And actually, obviously having CW and that side of things, and they have created a community. And I think for me, it's having that network within the beauty industry and the teams that I've led that has definitely been my career highlights.
And what do you think's helped you create them teams? Because again, I've had so much feedback on you. I've recruited a lot of your teams. What creates a great culture for you?
Kindness. I think that's probably why my authenticity as a leader is, it can be to my detriment because I can be too kind, but actually that's who I am. So I think kindness for me. But in terms of culture, openness, trust, being able to challenge each other and, criticize each other and having that open environment. Fun and banter, Terry, is key. You can't go anywhere in life without the fun and the banter. And if it's ever a low day in here, I'm like, come on, let's chat about something else. Or, I think it's just positivity breeds positivity. Kindness breeds kindness. Yeah. And you need that within a culture. Negativity breeds negativity. So let's flip it on its head. Whenever there's an issue, come on, let's just flip it on its head. What can we do? Let's turn this into a positive, or let's just laugh about it. If it's so bad, we have to laugh our way through it. And I think that's the culture that I like to build within my teams, and complete openness and transparency.
And look, we're going to start in the beauty industry because it's from obviously for the listeners that are not sure kind of what my role in the industry. I've recruited in this industry for God knows how long. Whenever we're talking to people, we always want to ascertain the industry that excites them most. Beauty is that number one for so many. Mm-hmm. And the innovation that goes into the industry right now is crazy. We know the investment that the brands are getting right now across e-commerce as a whole. Yeah. But beauty seems to be really stepping it up due to how if the product is so different, you can't try it on. Yeah. And what they're doing now, you see, it's crazy. But what do you think the next big thing is within that industry?
Oh, it's a tough question. And I'm really fortunate because I work in beauty, but I also work in e-commerce. So I've got the jewel of what I say is like the jewel of the crown, so to speak, because it's so much fun and digital is constantly changing and we need to get ahead. But ultimately, there's loads of talk about chat GPT at the moment, which is incredible. How do we get ahead with all of these technologies? How do we use AI to, we have incredible face mapping tool on our website, which scans your skin and recommends products, day and night products. There's so many incredible tools, but for me, it still goes back to the root. And actually very fortunate at Dermalogica, this is part of our brand DNA, but actually personalization is still key. And I think, there's lots coming up, but you still need to keep personalization and human touch running throughout whatever you're doing. So whether it is you're looking at a new technology, but how do you personalize that to your customer? How do you bring human touch to life online? So it isn't just, hey, I'm just shopping anywhere. So for me, they always fundamentally stay, and they're always kind of what I call my run and red thread. They're always running through any projects that I am doing. So I think they're the two areas I always focus on.
And I know obviously social commerce is quite a big thing as well, isn't it, for you guys? I know Claire spoke about that in the first one, obviously. Dermalogica be a part of the Unilever business. Social commerce seems to be ridiculous right now.
It's huge. And I think, it's massive for us. We had Selena Gomez post on Saturday about the skincare routine using Dermalogica just organically. And obviously that went off the scale. It was TikTok, and the power of social commerce is massive. And again, it's like, is it Be Real? What is that next platform? There's so much coming out, and it's testing and learning, just constantly looking at new platforms, looking at new avenues to communicate. But I think for us, I'm still bringing it back to the human touch and personalization and everything you're doing within that.
This is about inspiring people and celebrating people as well. Who would you say has been your top three? You can only name three. I know there's loads. Who would be?
This could be career ending if I don't mention people.
Just make sure you pick the right ones then.
Oh my goodness, right. Oh my goodness, this is really hard. Okay, I apologize to anyone that I'm not mentioning right now, because I feel terrible already. And
I could lose so much business because of this.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going with my first work wife, who was Claire at House of Fraser. So she's Claire Mitchell now. She was Fitzgerald before. She's actually, I think, head of marketing at Blue Water. Okay. Yeah. So Claire was my first work wife at House of Fraser, and I sat next to her for years and years and years. And it was an absolute pleasure to sit next to her and to work with her and to laugh with her and to support her. And, you know, that I was in my 20s, and, you know, your life changes so much in the 20s. And I went through that journey with her. So I'm really fortunate that I really start my career at House Fraser with her on my journey.
Okay.
And yeah, she's played a big part.
You got two more.
This is awful. Okay.
I'm not even sorry. I'm going to be honest.
I know. Okay.
I'm not even sorry.
Okay, so I will go with.
I can see you stressing.
I am. I'm literally like, who am I going to mention? I'm not going to get any promotion or anything this year. I would say Mark, Mark Herman, who is my current boss, and he's a GM of Dermalogica UK and Ireland, and he was my previous boss at Morton Brown. And so I worked with Mark for many years. I would say Mark because he has supported me through a lot in the last few years, and my personal life has changed quite significantly. But because he gives me autonomy and empowers me to set up a whole digital department from nothing, to test and learn and to fail small, and he leaves me to just progress within digital and e-commerce, and he trusts me, and I can still go to him and discuss things with him and bounce ideas off him. So I definitely, and he runs with me at lunchtime when I need a break. So, you know, he gets a mention.
Okay. Final one.
Can I be naughty here?
You're not passing.
Can I just say all the teams that I've managed and led?
I'll let you go with that one.
Please, because I have had some incredible, and I'm in touch with probably the vast majority of people that I've managed throughout the last 20 years. So my incredible team here at Derm, at Morton Brown, Dior, Space NK, and House Fraser. I'm so lucky. So I'm putting them into one category. They know who they all are.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You did, yeah. I can't be that cruel. That would have been really bad.
I've already named two people. Claire's going to be mortified that I've named her.
So look, again, the way this podcast, we wanted to do this as well, is we also get a question from the previous guest. Last week, we caught up with Noah, who is the Chief People Officer of On Running. She's got a great question, to be fair. And I thought it was quite aligned because obviously you're a massive enthusiast when it comes to running.
Okay.
So I thought I'd definitely get this. So her question to you was, what makes the culture at Dermalogica unique? And how is that adapting as the company evolves?
Good question, Noah. Okay. You know, I talk about the culture at Dermalogica to you personally all the time. Because it is so unique and so incredible. So it's the people and the passion. And I think that kind of transpires from Jane, our founder. So Jane founded us. You know, she set up the Dermal Institute in LA because she wanted to train professional skin therapists, and she wanted to empower women so they could run their own businesses. And, you know, Jane was doing the Dermal Institute and then realised there weren't any products that embodied what she was teaching. And that's how Dermalogica was born. And everything comes back to our professional skin therapists, and it comes back to education. And that passion and everything we do is there. It's like free education, educating people, empowering women. It's there. And I think then that comes across in terms of the passion and the support and just how open and friendly the culture is here. And my current global CEO, Aurelian, is so data driven and so innovative with his thinking and very forward thinking. So he's always right. He gets me the most, all of us globally, the most incredible tools and platforms to work on. You know, we're always looking at data. He encourages us to, you know, to compare relentlessly and fail, but fail small and then win big. You know, if the team aren't failing in 1 month, they're not challenging each other enough. You know, I want them to share their fails, and we do that. And I think his kind of thought leadership coupled with Jane as our founder is why our culture is so strong.
Amazing. So now it's your turn to think of a question for our next guest. So next week, I'm catching up with Audrey Vincent, who is currently the head of online trading for ASOS.
Oh, good job.
An amazing.
We work with ASOS. We love you.
Yeah, so do you know what? I've known Audrey for a long time.
Yeah.
So I've seen her career evolve, and she's got the most amazing background. What would your question be for her?
What makes her an authentic leader?
Love that question. Great question.
Okay.
So finally, I end every podcast on the same question. If you could go back and give Gemma advice when you were setting out in your career, what would that be?
Oh, can I say a few things?
Yeah.
Take risks. Hey, public speaking is not as bad as you think it's going to be, Gemma. I think the kindness piece for me, I think the be kind to myself piece is key. I think just, challenging yourself internally or thinking, oh, I can't do that, putting barriers up, or that's a bit scary, that's a bit daunting. Yeah, some things are scary. Some things aren't daunting, but go for it, challenge yourself, and then just be kind to yourself and realize what you've done. I think for me, I've probably was quite harsh with myself internally, that internal kind of person talking to me going, oh, are you sure you're going to do this, or being nervous about something. I think now I just turn that on its head and of course I'm going to do that. Of course I'm going to do a podcast for Terry. That's awesome. That's a great thing to do. There's nothing to be nervous about, or, whether it's a conference or it's a new project. And I think for me before that I would have been afraid or nervous about doing that and would have thought the reasons I shouldn't be doing it. Whereas now I'm always like, these are the reasons I should be doing something.
Amazing. Look, Gemma, as always, it's an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Next week's episode, we'll be asking Gemma's question to Audrey Vincent. So as mentioned, Audrey is currently the head of global trading for Southern Europe for ASOS. An amazing story we're going to be talking through with Audrey. Her journey to where she's got to is so inspiring. She's also a mentor at the Step Up sorority, which is there to represent underrepresented young women at the start of their careers. She's also a founding member of Chief, which is there again to act as a mentor to women in the industry. So an amazing next episode. Gemma, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Terry.
It's always a pleasure.
No, absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Cheers, Gemma.
Thank you.